Your Honor, my client seeks full division of assets because Mrs. Emma failed her most basic duty as a wife. She's sterile and couldn't give him children. The courtroom went silent. Every eye turned to me. But what my husband didn't know was that envelope in the judge's hand would change everything. My name is Emma. I'm 29 years old, and 6 years ago, I met Michael at a hospital fundraiser. I was a pediatric nurse. He was a successful real estate developer, charming, confident, everything I thought I wanted. We married after 8 months, and he convinced me to quit my job. Focus on starting a family, he'd said. I make enough for both of us. So I did. I gave up my career, my independence, everything. For 3 years we tried to have a baby. Every month brought disappointment. Every negative test made Michael colder. He started blaming me openly. Doctor visits became sources of shame. His criticisms cut deeper each time. I wasn't some trophy wife living carelessly off his money. I'd sacrificed my career, my friends, everything I loved, trying to make him happy, but nothing was ever enough. If you've ever been blamed for something that wasn't your fault, drop your location below and let me know you're listening. I read every single comment. Looking back, I should have seen the signs, but when you're drowning, you don't always notice the person holding you underwater. 6 months before that courtroom, I found divorce papers on Michael's desk, just sitting there, no warning, no conversation. Michael, what are these? He didn't even look up. What does it look like? I'm done wasting my life on someone defective. Defective, that word still burns. Turned out he'd been seeing Amanda, his 24-year-old assistant, for months. He'd already told his entire family I was the problem. His mother called me that same night. Finally, my son can have the family he deserves. I couldn't breathe. Michael moved out the next day, left me alone in our house. Days later, I checked our joint accounts. Empty. He'd transferred everything to business accounts in his name only. Left me with $200 and a maxed-out credit card. But it got worse. Michael sent a mass email to all our mutual friends. Subject line, why I'm moving on. He detailed our fertility struggles and blamed my medical issues. Made it sound clinical, factual. Friends stopped calling. Invitations disappeared. I became invisible overnight. Then the court summons arrived. His filing claimed I'd been financially dependent and contributed nothing to our marriage. He requested minimal settlement because of my failure to fulfill marital obligations. I sat in my empty house, reading those words over and over, wondering how my life had become so small. The pre-trial mediation was humiliating. Michael's lawyer, Stephen, came prepared with a stack of medical records. As you can see, Mrs. Emma visited fertility specialists 12 times. Not once did Mr. Michael require treatment. I stared at those records. Something felt wrong. Michael had always insisted on attending appointments alone for the consultation portion. The doctors told me results were inconclusive, but to keep trying naturally. Why had they never tested him? The first day of actual divorce proceedings, Michael walked into the courthouse with Amanda. She was visibly pregnant. My stomach dropped. In the hallway, Amanda spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. It's so sad when women can't accept biology. Michael deserves to be a father. Michael smirked, said nothing. Just stood there while she humiliated me. Inside the courtroom, Stephen painted me as someone who lived off Michael's success while failing to contribute. Every word was designed to destroy me. Then Michael took the stand. Your Honor, I supported my wife through years of disappointment. I paid for treatments, specialists, everything. But there comes a point when you have to accept the truth: she couldn't give me a day. Family. His voice dripped with false sympathy. Playing the victim. Playing the generous husband who'd done everything he could. He mentioned how he'd graciously allowed me to live in our home rent-free for 6 months. Forgot to mention his name was the only one on the deed. Showed credit card bills from when I'd had to buy groceries after he froze our accounts, calling me financially irresponsible. I sat there, hands shaking, but something in me refused to break down. Not yet. Because I remembered something. 9 months earlier, Dr. Lauren had said something strange during an appointment. I'm so sorry about the test results. I wish I could share more, but patient confidentiality prevents me from discussing your husband's file without his consent. At the time, I'd been confused. Thought she meant general medical privacy. But sitting in that courtroom, watching Michael lie, I started connecting pieces. 2 months after Michael filed for divorce, I'd felt desperate. Isolated. So I requested copies of all our medical records from the fertility clinic. What I found changed everything. My records showed normal fertility markers, completely normal. But there was a page marked family file that required both spouses' signatures. The clinic had added a note: husband declined to share results with wife per his written request. What was Michael hiding? I called Rebecca, an old friend from nursing school who'd become a family law attorney. She reviewed everything. Emma, this isn't right. If he's using fertility as grounds for asset division, we can subpoena the full medical records. She filed a legal motion to unseal everything. The judge initially denied it, citing privacy. But Rebecca pushed back. If medical condition is being used as grounds for asset distribution, all relevant medical evidence must be disclosed. What they didn't know was that I'd kept everything. Every text message where Michael blamed me. Every email. Every voicemail, and Rebecca had subpoenaed something even Michael's lawyer didn't see coming. Dr. Lauren had submitted sealed testimony to the court. She'd been troubled by Michael's manipulation and included a note about witnessing emotional abuse during appointments. I sat through weeks of humiliation, knowing the truth was coming. Every insult Michael threw made the eventual reveal more powerful. Rebecca and I met regularly at a small coffee shop to review the case. Emma, I've seen a lot of divorce cases. This isn't just about money. He's trying to destroy your reputation so no one questions his story. She explained that a sealed envelope from the fertility clinic had arrived at the courthouse. The judge would review it before the final hearing. Trust me, when the truth comes out, his whole performance falls apart. As the trial continued, Michael grew more confident. Started arriving late to court, acting casual. His mother attended one session, glared at me from across the room. In the hallway, I overheard them talking. I'm so glad you're getting away from her. Amanda will give you beautiful children. Michael laughed. Should have done this years ago. The night before the final hearing, Michael posted on social media a photo with Amanda. Caption: starting my real family. Some dreams just take finding the right person. He tagged mutual friends who'd believed his lies. I almost broke down. Then Rebecca called. Let him celebrate. Makes tomorrow even sweeter. The morning of the final hearing, I wore a simple blue dress. Michael arrived in an expensive suit, Amanda on his arm, both looking smug. Judge William entered with a manila envelope. The courtroom went quiet. Before we proceed to final statements, I need to address evidence that's come to light. His face was stern, unreadable. I've reviewed sealed medical records from Riverside Fertility Clinic, submitted under court order. Michael shifted uncomfortably. Stephen looked confused. Mr. Michael, your testimony stated that your wife was sterile and unable to conceive. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. That's what we believed based on years of failed attempts. The judge's expression hardened. These records tell a different story, Mrs. Emma's fertility tests from 3 years ago show normal ovarian function, healthy hormone levels, and no barriers to conception, the courtroom murmured. Michael's face went pale. Your Honor, I don't understand. However, your records, Mr. Michael, show severe male factor infertility. You were diagnosed with this condition 4 years ago. Gasps filled the room. The judge read from the document. Doctor's notes state, patient informed of diagnosis. Requested all communications regarding his condition be kept confidential from spouse. Patient refused recommended treatment. I stood up, voice shaking but clear. You knew? You knew for 4 years and let me think I was broken? Tears streamed down my face, but fury burned through them. Your Honor, this is inappropriate. Stephen tried to interrupt. Sit down, counselor. I'm not finished. The judge's voice cut through the room. Rebecca stood. Your Honor, we have additional evidence. Text messages between Mr. Counts, Michael and Amanda from 8 months ago. The screen lit up with Michael's text. Once the divorce is done and everyone thinks it was her fault, no one will question our timeline. Amanda was already pregnant before the divorce filing. The timeline proves she'd been pregnant for 7 months. The affair started while you were still married. Michael had manipulated everything to hide his infertility and his infidelity. You destroyed my career, my friendships, my reputation, all to hide that you were the reason we couldn't have children? Emma, I can explain. No, you can't. Because there's no explanation for cruelty like this. Judge Williams' voice was ice. This court finds that Mr. Michael engaged in deliberate deception, emotional abuse, and financial manipulation. I'm ordering full forensic accounting of all assets, immediate restoration of Mrs. Emma's access to joint accounts, and I'm suggesting she pursue separate damages for emotional distress. I walked out of that courthouse into sunlight. Rebecca walked beside me. You did it. You stood up. Michael stood by his car, Amanda crying beside him. He'd spent months painting me as the failure. Now everyone knew the truth, his family, his friends, his colleagues. I didn't need his apology or his shame. I'd already reached out to my old nursing supervisor. There was a position in pediatric ICU, my dream department. I'd lined up a small apartment. Modest, but mine. Michael approached. Emma, I'm sorry, I never meant. You meant every word. But here's what you didn't count on. I'm stronger than you ever gave me credit for. I walked away without looking back. I'd spent years measuring my worth by his standards. His approval had meant everything. His disappointment had crushed me. But standing in that courtroom, hearing the truth, I'd found something better. For once, his lies didn't break me, they freed me. I finally understood I was never the problem. The settlement came through 3 weeks later. Fair division of assets, plus additional compensation. I enrolled in a certification program to advance my nursing career. Started small, but it was mine. If you've ever been blamed for something that was never your fault, you know how that weight feels. I want to hear your story. Where are you watching from? Drop your location below and tell me, have you ever had to fight for the truth when everyone believed the lies? Hit subscribe if you believe people can rebuild after betrayal. Your story matters, and this community is here for you. I read every single comment. You're not alone.